And a random week of May was the most important thing for me because that random week was the week I was going to promote from my school and stop attending that school since I would be moving up a grade. So I wake up on a Monday, which was the first day of the week, and let's just call this week promotion week because this week is the week my promotion takes place. Anyways, I got up bed around 6:50 a.m. since I start school over an hour and I usually have to get up at that time just to get ready. Then a few minutes later, I realized there was no school because that Monday took place on a holiday. So what I basically did was just went back to bed and get more sleep so I can wake up not feeling tired. Soon enough, I woke up around 9 and went to the kitchen to go grab something to eat and say hi to my mom. And basically, we had a conversation about what I wanted to do after I promote. For example, like going out to eat or something. Then my day went by as usual, and then at almost around 4 p.m., I noticed something that was in the kitchen, like a familiar folded piece of paper. So I went close to it and I realized it was my report card regarding my grades. When I grabbed my report card to read it, my mom came to me and basically talking to me in an annoyed way, saying, "Why do you have bad grades in most of your classes?" And the only reason she asked me the question was because, if I'm being honest, the report card that she read was my quarter four report card, and I didn't really try in that quarter since it was almost already end of the school year, and I just didn't want to do any more work or assignments, so I just missed a few, but then it turned into over 5 assignments. The only assignment I did throughout the last few weeks before quarter four ended was the assignments that were really effective towards my grades and my classes. Either way, if I just did somewhat worse on the last few weeks of school, I still would have been able to promote because I usually got A's, B's, or sometimes C's in the rest of the other quarters. One thing I will say is don't really do what I did since it basically took a little bit of effect on my semester grade. Okay, sure, you can mess around with your friends a little bit, but just make sure in order to do that, at least have decent grades. Back to my mom's question, I replied to her saying those are my quarter four grades. She soon said that she was going to call the school and see if I was eligible for promotion, since she thinks that if I do bad on my quarter grade, it counts as my semester grade also. I told her there is no need for that and I was good to be on stage. Then the day began as normal and it was getting dark hours later, so I went to bed around 10 since I had school in the morning. The next day came by, which is Tuesday, and that day was the last day before promotion started. I woke up at 7 a.m. this time, got ready, and grabbed a permission slip that my school handed out to everyone to a field trip to go into a stadium and practice promotion there. Soon it was past day and I arrived to school on time, so I said hi to one of my friends that was in the hallways and he was asking me if I brought my permission slip for the field trip. And I said, yeah, did you? And he responded saying, no, I forgot it. Then I asked him saying, what are you gonna do? He then said, I don't know. Seconds later, the first bell rang, which meant that we had to go to our class in 5 minutes. Then I saw one of my friends that I met this year called Valerie, which I had her for math. She had Starbucks and asked if I wanted some, which I saw she had the limited time drinks for summer, so I said, yeah, sure. And by the way, I did say thank you. Anyways, I had math on the first period of the day, which I would have complained if it was a normal day, but this time I was glad because that day we only had to go to class just for the teacher to take attendance because promotion practice was going to take place as soon as the second bell rings. Soon enough, I enter my math class, then I sit down and wait for the second bell to ring patiently. So I start looking around the classroom and I stare at my other friend that I have in that class. His name is Christopher, and he likes to joke around and make weird and funny faces, which I laugh at to kill some time. And next thing you know, the teacher is done taking attendance, and the second bell rings, and the announcement goes off by saying, teachers, please escort students to the quad area of the school. So after they go off, my teacher tells everyone to stand up in the line at two different lines, whichever one goes first, and the second line had to follow the first line behind them. Which I believe that's almost a bad idea since my math class doesn't really know how to line up and just wander around. And the only reason I'm saying it's a bad idea is because my math teacher says that if students don't line up properly, they make her look bad, which soon after she gets annoyed and mad. This time, surprisingly, she just didn't mind at all and just let students go into the quad area however they want. When we arrived, there was 12 cones, and we had to line up based on our last names on a specific cone. So I lined up on the third cone since that's where my first letter of my last name takes me. Soon enough, a counselor comes by, and one of them tells everyone to take a seat in the floor while he starts explaining the plan for today. Minutes later, he starts explaining on how we are going to practice for over an hour at the school and how we're going to spend a few hours at the stadium that's outside of school, which the field trip was about. Everyone in each line hears them, and we did what they told us to do. By the way, keep in mind this was around 8:30 and 8:40 a.m. As soon as we start, everyone starts doing what they have to do, and when it was my line's turn to do whatever they had to do, I hear a teacher getting mad at a line for not doing what they're supposed to do. So I said to my friend, that teacher has to calm down. It's barely the beginning of the day, while laughing. An hour passed by and we are back to where we were, and around 6 to 7 buses came to pick everybody up. Afterwards, we got off the school campus and saw one staff choosing the lines to get into each bus. So we had to wait for a whole 10 minutes just to wait for a few lines to get into a bus. Finally, we got into a bus, and next to me was my friend Tony between the gap of the bus, and we were talking until we just got there to the stadium. Around 13 minutes, we got there and got off the bus, and they made us find our line at a grass area on the side of the stadium, which we had to wait there for further instructions in the hot sun, which sucked. Now, about 30 minutes pass by, and they finally tell us what to do, then explain how we are going to go inside of the stadium. So we walked how they told us to walk inside of the stadium, and then we had to walk how my school practiced to walk before we got there. Then, after we got all of that settled, the principal of my school goes up to the stage and explains how we are going to sit, stand, and walk up the stage. After all of that, it was time for us to go back to school and end our day with the last two periods that we had left. Around 3 o'clock, I came home from school and went by my day and finally went back to bed once again. Finally, it was Wednesday and it was the most important day that came out of the whole week, which was my promotion. My school decided that we can take the day off and spend the time just to get ready for promotion that took place at 6 p.m. I woke up this time around 7:50 a.m. and I just started my day by waking up and just wandering around the house. When I was walking, I saw my brother and his girlfriend making me a money late, which I was super thankful since it was my first time ever getting one. We talked for a minute, then my mom told me that I have to go get an outfit for my promotion, so I had to ask my dad to take me somewhere to go get one. So he took me and we got the fit I wanted to wear. Then I headed to the fitting room of the store and it looked great, so I got it and took it home with me. Around 4:30 p.m., I put on the outfit and my family was getting ready to head out to the stadium where I was going to promote, while my brother had to pick up two of my cousins that I invited named David and Jaslyn, but let's just call her Jazz. The only reason me and my family got ready to leave around that time was because my school did say it started at around 6, but they wanted everybody to be there an hour early. So I arrived around 5:10, which was a little bit late since there was a bunch of traffic, but thankfully I was able to find my friends and everyone else since they kept all students outside of the stadium. Afterwards, we were able to enter on the side of the stadium in the grass area where they made us stay so we can wait for instructions and to tell everyone when it was time to enter the field. What I did while waiting, I was thinking on how to kill time, so I talked to my friend Bella who was with me and we took pictures, and soon after I went to my other friend Johnny saying to him, "Yo, are you ready?" And he was like, "Yeah." After talking to both of my friends, it was time to head out to the field, but the thing is nobody really said anything that I know of because I saw people going in the field without even saying anything. Either way, I just followed the person that was in front of me that was in my line, and soon after all of that, promotion finally begins. When everyone started walking, they put a cone up front, so whenever the person in front of you crosses that cone, you go up next. And the only reason I believe they put a cone up there is that so the person that's walking the side of the cone will have a good distance between the person in front and the person behind, so it can look good for the people sitting in the bleachers. When it was my turn to do the cone step, they also made everyone turn into a 90-degree turn twice and head to their seats and stand behind the seats until the principal who was giving the steps on the stage to let us sit down. Then, after 15 minutes of standing up, the principal gets everything ready and finally walks up the stage and speaks in the microphone, greeting everyone that is in the bleachers. Soon enough, he tells the students to take a seat while he talks about how thankful he was to the parents that came to promotion, and then he says that he will get things ready and he will come back in a bit. Before promotion, my school let a few people sign up to make a speech so they can speak out loud before they start calling names during promotion. So while I just sat there with mostly nobody to talk to besides me, the principal speaks into the microphone and calls the people who signed up for the speech to come to the stage and take a seat there. Then he takes a few more minutes to finally get everything ready and to finally begin the whole entire promotion. By that time, promotion started and the people were giving their speeches for like an hour or so, and I was just basically looking for my family and cousins on the bleachers most of the time until I spot them soon after. Then finally, it was time to call names, and the people that were in the first row in the promotion were the people who had straight A's and had to go first before everyone else. Soon, time passes by, and it's finally my turn to go, and I see my teachers waving at me. Then I had to do a 90-degree turn and have to stay in a line, and now I'm just waiting for my name to get called. When it was almost my turn to get called, there was this one girl who was in front of the person in front of me, almost messed everything up because she didn't hear her name get called the first time and didn't went to the stage, and the person who was saying the names just kept moving on. But luckily, the person who was saying the names repeated the name again, and everything went back to normal. Seconds pass by, my name gets called, and when my name gets called, I hear my cousin Jazz screaming, "Yeah!" And I shake the principal's hand, and we took a picture together. And it was now time to head back to my seat until the other names were done getting called and until promotion was finished, which lasted about 1 more hour for everything. Finally, when they finished calling the names of the students who promoted, they told us to exit out of the whole entire stadium in a line and that they were good to leave or go to a dance that our school made only for the people that promoted. In my mind, I decided to choose the first option because my brother told me and my family, including my cousins, beforehand that we were going to go to a restaurant, and either way, I thought nobody was going to go to the dance since I heard nobody really talking about it. Anyways, when everyone was leaving, I was getting close to the gate where an exit was to get out of the stadium. Out of nowhere, I see two people trying to jump the fence that was in front of the bleachers so that they can go to their relatives and congratulate them, which they both succeeded, but one of them didn't manage to land right and fell to his back, which then I laughed at because it was hilarious to look at. A few minutes later, though, I saw that they were getting told by security to leave the entire stadium because they went into the field without permission. After all of that, I reunited with my family and went to a restaurant that my brother said, and we got to a table, sat down, and soon after, when my family and I were getting close to leave, my friend Bella calls me, which I picked up seeing if I was able to go to the dance, which I said no at first, but then I told her I'll ask. After she hanged up, I told my brother if he can take me, and he said sure, but at the same time, he said it was almost time that the dance was about to end, so we had to hurry, but either way, he took me. When I got there, I was happy because I saw my best friend, and since it was already over by the time I got there, everyone was basically just waiting to get a ride home, so I was only there for about 10 to 15 minutes, but I still saw some of my friends and I still had fun. Finally, it was Thursday, which I had to wake up early again for the last time because we still had school after promotion, but thankfully it was the last day of school since Friday we would have had school, but it was a day out for teachers. And the last day of school schedule was only 4 to 5 hours and a 6 to 7 hours that a normal school day usually has. During school hours, I was just making people send my yearbook that I got and going to my classes except the last period of the day, which the principal decided to send everyone outside and say goodbye to their teachers and friends for 40 to 45 minutes, and soon enough, it was the end of the school day. On the way to the exit of the school, I saw people crying and giving out hugs to their friends, and soon enough, everybody just went home.